Okay, in this section, we're going to take and start covering the basics of support weapons and how they're going to affect your infantry platoons. Now, when I say a support weapon, I mean things like heavy machine guns, light machine guns, bazookas, anti-tank rifles, basically a small heavy weapon support team that would be attached to whatever infantry platoon you have it deployed to. You're going to assign these support weapons prior to when a scenario begins, and it's going to be placed underneath the counter. So these examples I've got laid out here, this LMG counter you would place underneath this infantry, and this HMG would be placed underneath this infantry prior to the scenario beginning. Also, support weapons can't be directly targeted, so the Russian units couldn't try to snipe out the LMG or the HMG on these infantry platoons. But if these infantry platoons are taken out, then their support weapons are also going to be removed at that time. Now, the basics of how these support weapons are going to work is that they're going to add to the inherent firepower that they're augmenting for that infantry platoon. So, as an example, this infantry platoon that has an HMG, you can see on the HMG down in the bottom left corner that it affects your HE firepower. It adds a +1 to range and a +1 to firepower. That would make it to where this infantry platoon would effectively have a range of 3 and a firepower of 3 when it came to making an HE attack. However, there are some support weapons that are different, and they'll just have a plus located on it like this LMG does. That means that it augments the firepower, and we're going to get into augmenting more when we get into direct firepower later on. But for now, just understand that when you augment something like this, it gets to add a die. So this infantry platoon would get to add 1 die to its HE attack, but you could only score the amount of hits that your innate firepower actually was. So let's say this infantry platoon conducted a HE attack over here against the Russians. They would get to take and throw 3 dice during that attack, but they could only inflict a maximum of 2 hits, their maximum firepower that's listed down on their counter.